Well, hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back here to MotorMouth Broadcasting, and welcome back to 204 League Summer Heat Late Model Series. This is round number 7 of the season, coming to you tonight from IRP. My name is Ron Mullins, and alongside me, working the comms and the cams, is Hamish Monroe. Well, Hamish, we are here at this rather odd track. IRP, quite a lot of history when it comes to motorsports in this area. It's a stone's throw away from my version of heaven on earth, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But this track also has a lot of history in it as well. Whether it be the oval that we're running on here, whether it be the not often talked about and hasn't really been used since the late 2000s road course around this track, or whether it be the fabled drag strip that hosts the U.S. Nationals for the NHRA every single year, IRP is a cornerstone of plucky, small little motorsports facilities here in the U.S. I absolutely adore it, and I have a feeling that this race we have coming up is probably going to be a fun one for these racers.
Looking at the overhead tracks, Ron, I can almost see a little Legends layout as well, sort of just around the pit lane there. I'm not sure if that is actually used or not in real life, but no, it looks like a plunky little track, just over half a mile, nearly 0.7 of a mile, in fact. So, but we should be in for some good racing nonetheless here at IRP. It's almost like the little brother of Indianapolis race courses, with the big brother, of course, being the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But it's going to be a fun night on the road tonight. And in fact, Ron, you didn't make a mince of the intro and of the title of the series this time, so well done. Improvement across the week.
Yeah, see, I was doing like a fake intro as I was talking with my father after dinner a little bit earlier on this evening, because it is evening for me here on the east coast of the U.S., unlike you, Hamish, where you're already doing this broadcast from tomorrow. So outside of your time traveling abilities, I was trying to do like a little bit at the dinner table, and in the process of me doing that, I ended up doing the same mistake that I did last week. 204 League presents Summer Heat. The way that I have it written out, as always, is I have now finally gotten a grips to it. Knowing my luck, I'm probably going to screw it up for next week's broadcast at Myrtle Beach, which of course you'll be able to catch here on MotorMouth Broadcasting. But no, IRP, an absolutely awesome racetrack as far as I'm concerned, and one of only 2 racetracks from the entirety of this season that I've actually been to in real life. It's this and Iowa Speedway that we'll see on September the 16th, a little bit later on this season here on MotorMouth Broadcasting. We also talked about the Roval layout that we have here at IRP as well, and I didn't do the best of jobs explaining it. You can see it though on the inside, turn number 1 and 2, that dogleg detour. You pretty much take a left before oval turn 1 to go onto the infield, then take a 90-degree right-handed turn, and then take another 90 left, and that's pretty much the entirety of the Roval configuration here at IRP. It's again, as I said, I think the word plucky is the way that I like to describe this place. It has that old school feel. As you said, I think I really like the way you put it, Hamish. It is the little brother of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Obviously, Indy, 2.5 miles, the Brickyard. It is the, as far as I'm concerned, the most storied track in all of American motorsports ever since it opened back in 1909, with the first race there actually being a hot air balloon race. There have been many stories to come out of IMS, but many a story to come out of IRP as well. And I'm expecting one here, and as was brought up by Ryan Kamba, as we had a quick little chat with him before this broadcast started, Hamish, we do have a little bit of changes afloat with the Dash for Cash situation as we've gotten into the second half of this season.
Well, of course, that Dash for Cash has paid out the last 3 rounds in a row. But now that we're at the halfway point of the season and we're into the second half of proceedings this season, it is now changed to $20 per race. Of course, if it doesn't cash out, it goes up every single week still. But instead of finishing in the top 5, you need a top 3 finish to jackpot the Dash for Cash position here this season. So, it's a little bit of a change. Means that there's less positions on offer for this to happen. Should mean that it's less likely to pay out to Ron over the next sort of 6 or so rounds, but it's going to be an interesting dogfight to the end for these drivers across this series as well. At this stage, Riley Duncan is not racing tonight, so with his 2 drop rounds available, I believe, him not racing now again means that he'll probably drop out of the lead of the championship and give that lead to likely Tyler Smith, who's only missed one race this season, Ron. And yeah, and I think it's a good opportunity for Tyler to maximise on points. He needs to try and maximise here tonight, not only throughout qualifying but also in through the race as well, and just try and take advantage and get some solid points on the board. But as qualifying gets underway, cars are heading out there, including Rob Donaldson, last week's Dash for Cash winner. He cashed out that $15, and now we go to $20. He needs a top 3 finish tonight if he were to start out of the Dash for Cash position, which we will reveal after qualifying has commenced.
Yeah, so as these racers are hitting the track around this, again, plucky short track, you can see the safer barriers added in. NASCAR has made their return to this facility with ARCA running there along with the NASCAR Truck Series. Would be cool to see Xfinity run here instead of running on the big track, but, I think there's room for the both of them on the schedule. But right now, we're seeing Dotson lick the stamp and set it off through turns number 1 and 2. You can see the progressive low banking around this track, going to give the opportunity for these racers to run at different lines. We've been off the back of 3 rather different racetracks in the form of Nashville, Richmond, and North Wilkesboro last time out for this series. So coming here to IRP, it's a bit of a swap up for these racers, a different discipline. It may not seem like too much of a change on paper. Yet again, another short track, yet again, another 100 lap long race and a solo 5-minute qualifying session to set that starting grid. But it's got that different feeling compared to some of the tracks we've been over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big factor in the last couple of weeks has been those different characteristics on the circuits we've been to. Obviously, last week, I don't remember where we were last week. I can't remember.
North Wilkesboro.
North Wilkesboro, that's right. Now, last week at North Wilkesboro, the circuit had a fair bit of banking to it, but it was actually the elevation change that was the big factor. The uphill on one side, the downhill on the other. And then the weeks prior to that, obviously racing out at Richmond, Richmond was pretty heavy for us because that was more or less heavy on tyre degradation, fuel saving, and the strategies at play. Then we obviously had Nashville Fairgrounds as well, which had its own little characteristics. But IRP seems to be really flat, Ron. Not much banking at all on the corners of 1, 2, 3, and 4. But just a super flat, almost like a bowed piece of wood, like a bowed length of wood. It's almost like it's an uphill crest, downhill towards the next corner. So it's kind of like it's stuck on a pole almost, and it's kind of bending around it like a blanket. That's kind of the best way I can describe how this track looks when you're out there at this stage. You can kind of see the slight elevation up, down the back straight, and then obviously on the start finish straight as well. But it's nice and wide, Ron. And I think that is a big factor. It's not nice and wide, as we said. It's pretty flat. So keeping the tires underneath you and keeping the car at pace is, I think, going to be one of the biggest tests tonight. Because without that banking, you can't go, majority throttle through these corners. And you can just see, washing out wide here, Dakota Dennis on his final couple laps in qualifying, how hard it's actually going to be for these drivers to keep these cars off the wall. So we could see a couple of cautions tonight just based on that factor alone of drivers struggling to keep it on the tarmac.
And also in terms of the radiuses of these corners, the radii, I'm not too sure what the correct technical term is, but just the way these turns are as well. The straightaways are rather short here at IRP, so it feels like you're turning for a long time. So that may add into the tire wear even more. 12 degrees is the highest banking that you have heading off through here. I believe it fluctuates between about 9 and 12 on the actual banked parts, and then through on the bottom, it just feels like you're running totally flat there. So it is a unique, shall we call it, racetrack. A about a little under 7/10 of a mile here of this racetrack, and currently getting to the end of this qualifying session with the checkered flag out. It looks like it's going to be Tyler Smith starting this race from that pole position. We'll get that starting grid loaded up for you before we get into this 100 lap long race in just a couple of moments time. There it is, Tyler Smith in that number 25 car, going to start this race from the pole position at a 22.313. Rob Dodson set to join him on the front row. Lee Hamby will start this race in fourth. Lee Hamby will start this race in third. My apologies. Stephen Gary will start in fourth. Ryan Gamba will start this race in P5 alongside Marcus De La Garza in sixth. Dakota Dennis was the last of the cars to set a qualifying time. I believe the last of our starters, as Arm Sela, as I don't believe is currently in the session right now. So seven starters to look forward to here in this race. And Hamish, do you want to fill us in on what the Dash for Cash spot is?
I will indeed. Just to confirm, I believe Amir Soler is the race controller, and they are in the session. Because they've been in the session the last few weeks, but they haven't been racing. Dash for Cash position tonight, that is going the way of Stephen Gary out of P4. So he'll start at a P4 tonight, has one position to gain, and he will jackpot the Dash for Cash this evening. So not as much work to be done, but he's got three fast drivers ahead of him. It's going to be a struggle to get by them in Lee Hamby, Rob Donaldson, and Tyler Smith for our top three at this stage.
Yeah, probably going to have to keep his fingers crossed for a little bit of drama to go down in this race. And it said not terribly long ago, Hamish, talking about the challenges of this track, how difficult it's going to be, and the strategy thrown into the mix as well. You know, the past 2 weeks at Richmond and North Wilkesboro, ever since we got kick-started off here for the month of August, we have seen some racers kind of fall victim to the strategy and the pitfalls that can come with it. We've seen some racers, notably, I would say, over the past couple of weeks, the main racer who's really been in trouble when it comes to that is Scotty Oliver, who's not here tonight. I believe he's on vacation with his family down in Central America. But we've seen him run into the difficulties, and he has not been alone in that regard. A lot of these racers have struggled with the strategy, either it be with penalties or just not nailing down the strategy at all. We've seen a mix of that over the past couple of weeks. I wonder, will we see it again here at IRP?
Yeah, I think, mixture of strategies could be an interesting play tonight. I think the main factor is if we get cautions wrong. If we go green, like last week at North Wilkesboro, we're going to see the drivers just go to halfway, pit once, and then make it home. And that's going to be the bog standard strategy that'll be at play. Tonight, I think cautions could be a factor. If they're an early factor, we may see a driver towards the back of the field, maybe just pitting, take a bit of an extra splash of fuel just to try and gain some advantage under a green flag pit stop later in the race. But the longer this race goes on under green flag conditions, the more spread out it's going to get, but also the less likely strategy is going to be a massive play.
Yeah, I gotta wonder what sort of strategies these racers may try and throw at the wall. We got a rather interesting pit entry here as well, and we're gonna see that iRacing pace car make that turn to come down pit lane, put the field in the hands of our front row starters. It's that 0-0 of Rob Dodson on the outside of Tyler Smith as they round their way through turns number 3 and 4. About to get this race up and rolling. Round number 7 of the Summer Heat Late Model Series here on MotorMouth Broadcasting is green. We are racing at IRP. It's a pretty even keel start with both of our front row sitters as they head their way down into turn number 1 and 2 for the very first time. Look at Tyler Smith running that berm, the split between the low banks on the inside, the high banks on the outside. He's running it strong. He jumps into the race lead. Dotson now has a fight on his hands for P2, holding on to it with Ryan Kamba gang off to a flyer of a start. He's already jumped his way up to second here, Hamish.
Horrid start for Lee Hamby there, Ron. Horrid start. Down 3 into P6 already. That's given Dakota Dennis 2 positions. Canberra now up 3 into P2 on the road. Marcus De La Garza, Rob Donaldson, they both dropped 1 spot as well. But Steve Gary wants to get onto that podium because, well, he was watching along with us. He knows he's in the Dash for Cash position. He needs a podium tonight if he wants to be $20 richer. So as they enter on towards lap 3 and eventually onto lap 4 as well, Canberra has had a wicked race start. Sits up there in P2, looks to try and chase down Tyler Smith, but he's got to find some lap time if he hopes to hang with the race leader. Otherwise, it's going to be Tyler Smith's race to lose.
Yeah, at this point, Tyler Smith already pulling a gap as it stands right now as we see the field start this fourth lap of this 100-lap long race. Gonna be a tough one for these drivers. The 7 still out there on the racetrack. Stella not taking the start, of course. You got a race controller trying to keep this field clean, but as it stands, this field keeping it clean as it stands currently. No real drama that we see at the present moment. Saw a couple of racers got a little bit squirrely as they headed their way out of turn number, it was hanging out of turn number 4 on the first lap of the race where they really start to run into some difficulties. But outside of that, they've kept it clean, they've kept it smooth, and these racers playing the patient game as it stands right now. Smith continues to pull away, and this battle for P2 between Kamba and Gary may start to get intense.
Now, I think we mentioned, obviously, during qualifying the factors of this place and the characteristics of this circuit as well here at IRP. And I think we mentioned tyre wear and how that's going to have an effect on these cars tonight, and how getting loose around these corners, obviously they have to lift. They often run a slightly wide run across the apex. And as the tyres begin to wear down, that's when we're likely going to see those incidents start to form. That's when we're going to see the pressure start to build on these drivers throughout the field, because as they make small mistakes on these tyres through these corners, that'll just start to wear them down a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more every single lap. And eventually we're going to find someone running it way too hot in, way too wide, and straight into the wall, and possibly destroying their car, which will bring the caution out because they'll be ended up stuck on the road in a very unsafe position.
Yeah, getting stuck in the middle of the road around this track with cars blaring around it at a rate of knots is not very cash money, as we would probably say here in the city of Philadelphia. It's been a very good start from Smith as he still pulls away that gap and is eking more and more as the laps continue to tick by. He's gone off to a flyer. The rest of the racers behind, I think they're more caught up in their own battles than they are about working together and hoping to catch up to that race later. I'm not really sure what they could do at this moment, though, because he continues to pull a couple of tenths of a second, lap after lap after lap after lap. I usually say this in reference of pulling a big gap in one of these races, that you need to treat it as if you're filing your nails. Don't try and file your nails with a chainsaw. That is not going to work. That's a very easy way to lose a finger. Just slowly whittle away with a nail file, and you'll get there eventually. What we're seeing right now, though, from Smith at the front of this field, we're seeing him take a jackhammer to that gap. He's building it every single corner, it feels like.
Yeah, we almost might have to start calling him the bricklayer at this point here, Ron, because he's building his way forward. Maybe a carpenter as well, could Tyler? I mean, Tyler Smith sounds like a bit of a carpenter's name. As Gary up the inside at Canberra goes into P2, so that's only helping his case tonight for Dash for Cash. It means that he's one position ahead of the minimum requirement of his finishing position tonight. Of course, the minimum is he needs to finish P3. That is where he would win. If he can finish P2, he will win the Dash for Cash, or of course P1 must finish on the podium to win out that $20. But he's having a massive blinking issue right now. That's not going to help his case. But here comes Lee Hamby, inside line on Canberra, back up onto the podium now. But the comeback train for Hamby, well, he's got a lot of work to do tonight, Ron, because he already dropped 3 spots off the race start. He's back to where he started now into P3. But unfortunately, through all of this schmozzle, he's dropped 2.6 seconds, or nearly 3 seconds, in fact, up to the race leader, Tyler Smith. He's got some work to do if he hopes to chase down the race leader.
Yeah, so thankfully for him, he does have the benefit of time, as we're only 15 laps into this 100-lap long race. But time is also a curse for him, considering that massive gap that Tyler Smith holds on to at the front of this field. Frankly, something like that, unless we see that number 47 machine of Lee Hamby pick up about 500 horsepower. Yeah, I'm talking nitrous, a turbocharger, just throw everything that you have got at this car. That would be enough to close up that gap. Otherwise, you're probably gonna have just a race where Tyler Smith begins to pull away, and the only thing that could stop him is a yellow. And again, the chances of that coming out, not necessarily zero here, Hamish. I think in the past couple of weeks, we've seen this go on in the first half, where the first half of the race, rather smooth, rather cool, calm, and collected. Then we get to the second half, and chaos starts to unfold, whether it be on-track moments that bring out yellows, or whether it be the pit stops that really shake up the complexion of this race. I don't think it is going to be a 100% straight run through to the checkered flag for Smith. And who knows, maybe he's burning up his stuff there, trying to pull that gap early. He may start to drop down like an anvil pushed out of a helicopter.
Yeah, the races the last few weeks, as we get into sort of the second half, it almost feels like an origami deconstruction class, just unfolding completely. Whether it's through strategies unfolding or whether it's through skill issues, starting to come unfold as well. But at this stage, I mean, if you're Tyler Smith, you're sitting pretty. You've got 3.5 seconds back to arguably the next fastest car on track in Lee Hamby, although he's actually not managed to match Stephen Gary on the fastest lap the race between the two of them, but he is lapping faster than him at this stage. But Tyler's sitting pretty at the moment. He's looking good at the front of the field in the 25 machine. He's got 3.3, nearly 3.4 seconds back. Stephen Gary add another 0.25 tenths to Lee Hamby as well. He's got not as much pressure on him as Donaldson up the inside of Camber now, in towards P4, and as they turn through turn 3 and 4, to get onto the main straight, Canberra's dropped a couple of spots here, Ron. You saw him run a little bit wide, get a little bit loose, and as this race goes on and those tyres start to wear, those sort of issues are going to be a lot more monumental in terms of the grand scheme of things here in the race event this evening.
I thought we were going to see some drivers make contact as they headed their way off through turns number 3 and 4. I think we're starting to see these competitors turn up the wick just a little bit, get a bit more racy with each other, get a bit more antsy with each other as well. They want to make up some moves and make up some time as we're still in the early points of this race. Make hay while the sun is shining doesn't really apply considering it's nighttime here in the sim. Oh no, contact being made into the wall. He's going to go. That is Gary with a huge moment coming out of turn number 4, and Stephen Gary going to spin out of second. He stopped there on the track trying to pull off the 3-point turn to get turned back around in the right direction. Now the number 25 and Tyler Smith got to worry about lap traffic, and that lap traffic was a car that was the closest to him a matter of a few moments ago. Big incident coming out of 4.
So that right there was caused by Lee Hamby running high, not quite understanding where his car positioning was, and just hooking into the rear of Stephen Gary's car. There wasn't much more that Gary could do in that scenario. He was a passenger. He was a passenger in this incident. Full speed for you now, and he's just been dumped by him. I think we can agree. It's the only word that can really describe it, Ron, is that he was dumped. Let's watch this again. So as they come through, Hamby starts to run up high and just absolutely rorts him. So, race. If there's a race controller in there, if we're correct in assuming that Amir Salah is the race controller, don't be surprised if you see Hamby have a drive-through penalty, because that there is all on him, Ron. There is no words that you could say that is Stephen Gary's fault. No evidence you could show. That's on Hamby. And he's probably just thrown away a race win because of it.
Yeah, that is super unfortunate for him coming out of there. Stephen Gary, really the innocent bystander in that moment. Two cars merging together, coming out of 4. That's a problem with a racetrack like this. It's definitely a first world problem, so to speak, but a problem nonetheless. With so many different lines, so many different exits that these drivers have, you get moments like that. And that right there, I think may have just been, okay, I was going to say, don't tell me that's a black flag so early on from Marcus De La Garza. Nah, I think he hit 88 miles an hour as a result of that contact and actually got sent back to when this track opened many, many moons ago.
And again, it was just a really weird moment. It's like the spatial awareness of the drivers tonight is non-existent, Ron. That is twice now we've exited turn 4, and the car on the inside has just swerved right onto the outside of the track and made contact with the car alongside them. I mean, luckily for Camber, his night didn't, that incident didn't cause him any, stress compared to what Stephen Garry's did. But, I mean, how can you lose spatial awareness when you've been racing these cars for 6 rounds previously? I don't get it.
And I think the point that I was raising as those drivers came to blows coming out of turn number 4, there was a lot of truth said in just with the way the turns are around this track, the fact that you've got the ones running the high side, keeping that momentum rolling and really just not wanting to lift at all. And then you've got the other ones trying to run on the bottom and hold on to anything they've got. You've got a blend of different lines. You've got a blend of different driving styles, and unfortunately, it's just kind of something that happens with a racetrack like this. We see it when it comes to all sorts of different racetracks, like Bristol, for instance. That's a prime example of a track where you have lots of different lines heading off through the turns, and when you head onto the straightaways, that's usually when the contact goes on, that merging back in, trying to get back into lane, the zippering effect coming at the turns in a whether it be a battle or a pack of cars, can usually end in tears. Unfortunately, though, has taken some racers out of contention. Certainly took Gary out of contention, as he is right in front of your race leader, currently classed down in P7, the last of the cars who's actually taken the start of this race. Tyler Smith still leading over Lee Hamby in P2, with Rob Dodson rounding out your top 3 as it stands right now. 34 laps now into this 100-lap long race.
Well, we are about a third of the way through, Ron, and what we've seen thus far has been quite interesting, to be fair. I mean, Smith unchallenged thus far tonight. 2 drivers have made similar mistakes off the exit of turn 4, which have then made contact with other cars into the rears as well. But, at this stage, we're sitting pretty clean. I mean, 35 laps in, we're not sitting too bad in terms of incidents that have been overly poor, we'll say. We'll take this quick moment, though, just to have a quick little ad break to give thanks to some of the series sponsors. Don't go anywhere. The 204 League Summer Heat Series returns soon to MotorMouth Broadcasting after these quick messages from the series sponsors.
Do you love Orlando's theme parks, but the long lines have been losing the magic? Introducing RideWaits, the Apple Watch app designed to help you skip the stress and ride more, with real-time wait times and park info right on your wrist. Whether you're exploring Walt Disney World, adventuring through Universal Orlando, or taking it all in at SeaWorld, RideWaits helps you navigate smarter and get the most out of your visit. No more wandering, no more guessing, just more riding. And it's not just wait times. RideWaits also offers tips on the best times to ride, general park info, and helpful alerts so you never miss out on your favorite attraction. Whether you're planning ahead or making game day decisions in the park, RideWaits keeps everything you need at a quick glance away. RideWaits, your wrist-side guide to the best parks in Orlando. Available now on the Apple Watch store.
Not affiliated with or endorsed by any theme park brand.
204 League presents Tuesday, late model stocks under the lights. Proudly presented by MotorMouth Broadcasting. From multiple countries compete nose to tail on America's most legendary short track. Tracks like IRP, Bristol, Myrtle Beach, and more. Come see some of the best drivers on iRacing battle door to door. Names like Scotty Oliver, Nolan Perry, Riley Duncan, and Tyler Smith. Along with up-and-coming drivers like Stephen Gary, Hugh Escobar, Marcus De La Garza, and Ryan Camba. For the best late model stock action on iRacing, come visit MotorMouth Broadcasting on YouTube. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tuesday nights, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. Only on the 204 League, where the big ones run. From the track to the tech, Creative Castle keeps your code running as clean as your laps. We test real-world devices and digital platforms so your next release won't crash in turn one. At Creative Castle, we elevate your software with expert quality assurance and cross-platform testing. Whether it's native apps or networked hardware, we deliver precision-tested performance at scale. Behind every smooth app and smart device is a quiet castle. Creative Castle. We're the quality wizards and test knights who battle bugs and break bad code before it breaks your product. Creative Castle. Quality at full throttle. Your quest for quality ends here. In logistics, precision isn't a goal, it's the expectation. At Aspire Crossdock, we exceed it every day. Serving Fortune 50 companies from our strategic hubs in Greensboro, North Carolina, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Aspire Crossdock delivers fast, reliable, and fully customizable logistics solutions, tailored to your supply chain. From expedited cross-dock to end-to-end third-party logistics, we're not just a 3PL provider. We're your competitive edge. Driven by the latest technology and guided by a relentless focus on service, Aspire Crossdock brings you unmatched speed, visibility, and accuracy in every single shipment. Innovation, execution, satisfaction. Aspire Crossdock isn't just keeping up, we are setting the pace. Find us on aspirecompanies.biz. Aspire Crossdock, where logistics meets success. Tired of bland shirts and cookie-cutter designs? Step up your game with top-tier designer apparel, your one-stop shop for premium custom apparel. Whether you're ripping your brand, your team, or your side hustle, we've got you covered. From direct-to-garment printing to high-quality heat-press transfers, Top Tier delivers sharp, vibrant prints that last wash after wash. Want to press it yourself? No problem. We also print custom transfers you can apply at home or in your shop with any t-shirt heat press transfer. Fast turnaround, maximum impact. When it comes to custom gear, don't settle for average. Go Top Tier. Top Tier design and apparel. Print like you mean it. From the press to your chest. That's Top Tier.
Welcome back into the 204 League presents the Summer Heat Series here for the late model stocks out at Indianapolis Raceway Park this evening. If you're just joining us, Hamish Monroe here with Ron Morns alongside with the halfway point of tonight's race after that quick little ad break. And pit stops are underway, Ron, as cars begin to make their way through pit road. Tyler Smith is in. Stephen Gary has gone a lap longer than anybody. Hamby and Dennis are pitted as well. So is Camber, Donaldson and De La Garza, who's unfortunately now gone a lap down on Gary, but he's about to come through pit road, so he should get that lap back as they rotate back around again. But interesting to see where Lee Hamby ends up, because Smith is still in pit road and Hamby is at pace, but Smith has just exited now, so it should be a straight run home. But we'll see if Hamby has any penalty coming his way for what can only be described as dumping Stephen Gary earlier in this race.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was totally anything too terrible from him. It was certainly unintentional, but not the best of moments coming out of turn number 4. Tough stuff around this track. I raised this point earlier on, talking about the varied lines that people take here at IRP. But even that, an unfortunate moment for the both of them, coming to blows as they headed their way out of turn number 4. Outside of that, and some drama a little bit after that involving Marcus De La Garza, but a rather smooth one up to this point here, now past the halfway mark of this 7th round of this Summer Heat Late Model Series season here on MotorMouth Broadcasting. And to all of you tuning into the show, if you are enjoying tonight's broadcast, how about you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss out on any of the racing action. Looking at this racetrack, though, it's looking rather good for Smith as it stands right now, still holding on to a comfortable gap at the front of the field. Looks like everybody's gotten their pit stops taken care of. We're kind of joking about this during the commercial break we just went on, heard from some of the fantastic partners that make these broadcasts and this league possible. But I do want to raise a little bit of trivia about IRP, because I feel like some people know about this while others don't. I am a huge race car history nerd. I don't talk about this too much on my broadcast, which is rather odd because more and more people from my broadcast have randomly stumbled across it. But before I got into this commentary stuff back in about March of 2023, I used to have a YouTube channel making videos about random racing history, and I absolutely adore motorsports history from the bottom of my heart. As we see Ryan Cameron really dropping down like a stone thrown into a pond, just had 2 moves put on him over the past couple of laps. The pace disparity was so much I thought he was actually 1 lap down, but no, that is squabbling 4 positions, so he drops down to 5th. But back in the 90s, it was 1993, they ran the Fastmasters series. It was imagine a Masters tour for golf, but with motorsports. They ran Jaguar XJ220s around this track, and you can imagine how that went, putting in some old school racers around IRP with some very expensive, I think it was like the most expensive car at the time that you could buy on the road, being prepared factory fresh essentially with roll cages and a little bit of race preparation made to them, and they just ripped them here at IRP. It was very fun. They only ran it 1 time because I think they lost millions of dollars just in vehicle repairs from the first night alone. But Hamish, did you ever hear about that Fastmaster series, or am I introducing you to some new ground in the world of motorsports?
You're introducing me to some new ground, if I'm honest with you there, Ron. You did remind me of interesting races that have happened previously, and I will point out that I think it was a regular IndyCar round on a road course. IndyCar actually came to Australia and raced on the Gold Coast road course back in the mid-2000s. So you reminded me of that. I don't know why it reminded me of that race, but yeah, I just thought of, well, odd combinations. They brought IndyCar to Australia at one point and ran it on a road course here, so quite interesting. In fact, that race was won by Australia's own Will Power back at the Gold Coast road course. But no, I wasn't aware of that series. What was it? The Fastmaster series? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm. Yep, the Fastmaster series.
I mean, it's interesting that someone had enough money to buy all those Jaguars or to race all those Jaguars, and they brought it to IRP of all places. I would have thought maybe they would have taken it to, nothing against IRP, but maybe a more illustrious race circuit such as Indianapolis Motor Speedway, or maybe Daytona, maybe Charlotte, if they were to take it on an oval. But yeah, it's pretty interesting, actually, that they brought it here, and they raced them around here, and then they had to fit the bill afterwards, and it was quite an expensive one.
Oh yeah, it was a very, very expensive. They completely changed the format midway through the season as well. I mentioned at the top of the show, talking about the infield road course that they have here, which is utilizes a very lengthy section of the infield of this very lengthy oval, pretty much a 90-degree turn there, heading off into turn number 1, and then you can see that small little patch of concrete-ish asphalt there on the inside, and that's where they rejoined it. A quick little dogleg detour made up the roval layout of IRP. They do have a road course 2.5 miles long. I said this right towards the top of the show as well. Really hasn't been used in quite some time. I think 2007 was the last time it was really used, and that was for an SCCA road racing event. But outside of that, nobody really runs a road course anymore. It's pretty much in disrepair. I believe there are plans to get that up and rolling. This may be a potentially controversial opinion. I would love to see IndyCar run on there for the Indy Grand Prix right around the same time as the Indy 500, then running on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. That's just my opinion, though. Opinions are a lot like noses. We all have them, and sometimes you really want to punch someone directly in their opinion.
Well, I had somewhat of a interesting thought process as we were talking about road courses at the start of the broadcast. Smith here just coming up to some lap traffic, having a bit of a blink for himself as well. That could be detrimental to his race. We'll click back onto Hamby, who's trying to chase him down. I don't know if I've ever actually seen a road course, Ron, where it's on an oval like this, and obviously there is New Hampshire where the road course goes externally from the oval. It doesn't go to an infield. But one where it actually goes externally, but under the bridges or under the driveways that actually go underneath the the big grandstands. You know how some race courses you enter below the grandstands and you come up into the infield. I've never seen a road course which races like that, where they actually race underneath the grandstand. I think that would actually be a pretty cool, I don't know, just a cool and different way to go road course racing or roval racing on a short track like this, or on a slightly bigger circuit.
I think it was Sedona Raceway in Forza Motorsport 4, a track that did not exist, but it was my absolute favorite on the Forza Motorsport games. It was like, imagine Bristol, but they also had an infield road course as well, and you went into this massive outside the track configuration as well. If anyone has never played Forza Motorsport 4, you are sorely missing out. That was the game that most of my childhood time went to die, essentially. I remember holding off on bath time as a very young kid just to play Forza Motorsport 4 more and more. My mother, God bless her, she was never too big into the racing, while my dad absolutely loved it and eventually got me into being the speed demon that I am now. But my mother never really understood it, so me playing Forza Motorsport 4 as a kid at like what used to be so late for me, she never really got. But that game, absolutely fantastic. I'm trying to think if there's any others. I guess the closest that we get to a road course that runs on both the inside and the outside of an oval layout would probably be Twin Ring Motegi, but there's no crossover between the road course and the oval. It's a separate layout in and of itself, even though the start-finish straightaway for the road course and the start-finish straightaway for the oval, which they haven't been able to use since about 2011. There was the pretty bad earthquake and tsunami there in Japan back in 2011, cracked up the asphalt. They haven't really been able to run there since. But as we are getting a little bit closer to the end of this race, with Tyler Smith in the 25 car still in the race lead, Lee Hamby in P2, and Rob Dodson rounding out the top three as it stands at the present moment. I think we're going to take a quick little commercial break here on MotorMouth Broadcasting, hearing once again from the absolutely fantastic partners that we have to make these broadcasts of the 204 Summer Heat Late Model League possible. And we'll be right back for the final 25 laps, which looks like they'll be dominated by Smith, but again, we'll just have to wait and see what kind of twists and turns we get here tonight after these messages.
Do you love Orlando's theme parks, but the long lines have you losing the magic? Introducing Ride Waits, the Apple Watch app designed to help you skip the stress and ride more, with real-time wait times and park info right on your wrist. Whether you're exploring Walt Disney World, adventuring through Universal Orlando, or taking it all in at SeaWorld, Ride Waits helps you navigate smarter and get the most out of your visit. No more wandering, no more guessing, just more riding. And it's not just wait times. Ride Waits also offers tips on the best times to ride, general park info, and helpful alerts so you never miss out on your favorite attraction. Whether you're planning ahead or making game day decisions in the park, Ride Waits keeps everything you need at a quick glance away. Ride Waits, your wrist-side guide to the best parks in Orlando. Available now on the Apple Watch store.
Not affiliated with or endorsed by any theme park brand.
204 League presents Tuesday, late model stocks under the lights. Proudly presented by MotorMouth Broadcasting. From multiple countries compete nose to tail on America's most legendary short track. Tracks like IRP, Bristol, Myrtle Beach, and more. Come see some of the best drivers on iRacing battle door to door. Names like Scotty Oliver, Nolan Perry, Riley Duncan, and Tyler Smith, along with up-and-coming drivers like Stephen Gary, Hugh Escobar, Marcus De La Garza, and Ryan Camba. For the best late model stock action on iRacing, come visit MotorMouth Broadcasting on YouTube. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tuesday nights, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. Only on the 204 League, where the big ones run. From the track to the tech, Creative Castle keeps your code running as clean as your laps. We test real-world devices and digital platforms so your next release won't crash in turn one. At Creative Castle, we elevate your software with expert quality assurance and cross-platform testing. Whether it's native apps or networked hardware, we deliver precision-tested performance at scale. Behind every smooth app and smart device is a quiet castle. Creative Castle, where the quality wizards and test knights who battle bugs and break bad code before it breaks your product. Creative Castle, quality at full throttle. Your quest for quality ends here. In logistics, precision isn't a goal, it's the expectation. At Aspire Crossdock, we exceed it every day. Serving Fortune 50 companies from our strategic hubs in Greensboro, North Carolina, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Aspire Crossdock delivers fast, reliable, and fully customizable logistics solutions, tailored to your supply chain. From expedited cross-dock to end-to-end third-party logistics, we're not just a 3PL provider, we're your competitive edge. Driven by the latest technology and guided by a relentless focus on service, Aspire Crossdock brings you unmatched speed, visibility, and accuracy in every single shipment. Innovation, execution, satisfaction. Aspire Crossdock isn't just keeping up, we are setting the pace. Find us on aspirecompanies.biz. Aspire Crossdock, where logistics meets success. Tired of bland shirts and cookie-cutter designs? Step up your game with top-tier design and apparel. Your one-stop shop for premium custom apparel. Whether you're ripping your brand, your team, or your side hustle, we've got you covered. From direct-to-garment printing to high-quality heat-press transfers, top-tier delivers sharp, vibrant prints that last wash after wash. Want to press it yourself? No problem. We also print custom transfers you can apply at home or in your shop with any t-shirt heat press transfer. Fast turnaround, maximum impact. When it comes to custom gear, don't settle for average. Go top tier. Top tier design and apparel. Print like you mean it. From the breast to your chest. That's top tier.
Welcome back into the 204 League presents the Summer Heat Late Model Series here out at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Hamish Runner Ron Morns joining you if you're just here with us. You've got 16, about to be 15 laps to go of IRP. And right now, Tyler Smith is in dominating position and is running a dominating performance as well. 8.7 seconds is roughly the gap back to Lee Hamby in P2 at this stage of the race. Rob Donaldson up into P3 as well. Stephen Gary, the Dash for Cash driver here tonight, down 2 positions. Not looking likely that's going to cash out tonight, Ron, which pretty much ends our 3 race in a row streak that we're currently on. And it means that it will now go on to next week where it will, it won't jackpot, it will roll over. We'll add another $20. We'll go racing to see if anyone can win the $40 on offer next week. Out at Myrtle Beach for the 26th of August for our next round of the series.
Yeah, so that race at Myrtle Beach next time out going to be rather intense with some stakes certainly on the line for those racers. Myrtle Beach, unfortunately, will have the selection of tracks, and I'm sure we'll probably have that full list together. At least I will try and do that, knowing my luck with my memory of a goldfish. I can't even remember what I had for lunch today, folks, so chances are I'm probably going to have to write a note for myself to get a list of all the tracks on iRacing that have sadly gone the way of the Dodo Bird. Myrtle Beach, unfortunately, wanted them a rather sad end to that place as well. They tore it down to make room for some nice suburban housing because, of course, instead of having a racetrack there on floodlands that occasionally get wet whenever there's a little bit of rain, they want to put in suburban housing so people can move in there and then be shocked when their living room is completely enveloped in water a couple of weeks later. You know, I say that as someone who has seen many a racetrack, even in my kind of neck of the woods up here in the, I wouldn't say the Northeast, but kind of in the close enough region to it. I'm from Philadelphia, so there's enough racetracks around me that have unfortunately gone away, and just racetracks all across the country that have sadly gone the way of Myrtle Beach. But no, that race in 1 week's time to round off the month of August, probably going to be a barn burner, certainly going to be intense for those racers trying to see whether or not they can jackpot that Dash for Cash prize. $40 would certainly not be something any of these racers would turn down at all, Hamish.
Well, you say it's intense, so they're going to be going camping, Ron.
I have an odd story when it comes to camping. If we can share this out. So this is
Yeah.
it's actually, it has nothing to do with actually sleeping in a tent, but if I slept in a tent, it would have prevented this happening. So I haven't really gotten the opportunity to share this because we don't have a race there during this season here for Summer Heat. But I've been up to Pocono many, many times. Of course, being in the city of Philadelphia and being a race fan, you'd be going up to Pocono eventually. I've never been there for a NASCAR race. I was mainly there just for my own racing events. And one year, I think this was 2017, like June or something like that. We were staying at a Peaceful Woodlands campground up in the Poconos. Fine people over there. They have some great cabins, but for this particular trip, our first time there, just decided to get a plot of land that they had for booking, so we could just pitch a tent there and sleep as we weren't at the racetrack. And unfortunately, for night number one, it was incredibly rainy, so we decided, my dad and I just decided to sleep in the car. And I was sleeping in the passenger seat, and according to my father, I have no recollection of this at all. Midway through the night, I just opened the door and said I was just going to go for a walk. Now, for context, from that campground, with the exception of the northeast extension of the Pennsylvania Turnpike to get to Pocono Raceway in the first place, is pretty much uninterrupted wilderness from there to probably about Cincinnati, Ohio. So chances are, if I did go for a walk, I would either be wearing like animal pelts and hunting out in the woods, or I'd be dead for all I know, as we see the 00 of Rob Dotson come in for a late stop.
Yeah, 5 laps to go. The cars couldn't quite get to 50 laps earlier on. So we're probably going to see some very, very late splash and dashes here, Ron. We'll see how this pans out in terms of strategy for some drivers and if they've been fuel saving along the way. It's now promoted Stephen Gary up onto the podium. If he's fuel saved himself to get to the end, well, he could maybe do this. He could actually get the dash for cash tonight, Ron. I mean, we've got, what, 3 laps to go for Tyler Smith. Gary's about to come onto his 96th lap. Remembering that he pitted on lap 48, so relatively speaking, the math says he should only be able to go this far. Shouldn't be able to go any further, which also, just to your story, glad you didn't go for a walk, Ron. It could have ended very poorly for you. You might have met a bear if you weren't careful as well. Gary, though, is continuing on. There are 2 laps left for the race leader. Can Stephen Gary somehow sneak his way into a dash for cash winning position here? White flag next time by for Tyler Smith. He is a lap ahead of Stephen Gary. Gary really only needs to make 1 more lap here, Ron, and he's going to win the dash for cash. He doesn't need to make the whole 100 laps.
Yeah, because he's 1 lap down, he doesn't have to make it all the distance. A white flag in the air for him, along with our leader of Tyler Smith, who's heading his way down the back straightaway off into 3 and 4, on track for a dominating win at IRP, essentially leading from lights to flag and getting the job done by a rather significant margin. There's a win for Tyler Smith. Lee Hamby going to cross the start-finish line here in a couple of moments to finish in second, but Gary's still out there on the racetrack. He just crossed the line. Stephen Gary gonna jackpocket here tonight. Jackpocket? I don't think that's the right term. Jackpot it. There we go. Second tries the charm. I was so excited, I forgot to speak English.
So somehow he snuck his way up into the top 3. And Stephen Gary is now $20 richer. And we continue on our streak of 4 races now in a row that it has jackpotted the dash for cash. Which week are we not going to jackpot? Will it be Myrtle Beach, the track that's gone the way of the Dodo Bird? Or are we going to go 5 in a row next time out when we go racing as the podium finishers pull up here at the start-finish line just to get themselves situated for a nice little photo down there. Race is over, and there's our top 3. What a race, but what a finish for Stephen Gary. Snuck his way in, got the dash for cash. Job done, son. He'll be happy with that.
Oh, he will be over the moon with that result. I mean, we completely discounted him as soon as we came back from that final commercial break. We were like, you know what? He's definitely not going to be. We already started hyping up what's going to be with drivers racing for $40 next week, but he gets it done here. A fantastic result from Stephen Gary. We'll take a look at your results at the end of it all here. We'll let you know that Tyler Smith finishes this race in P1, 15 seconds nearly over Lee Hamby in P2. Those two, the only ones finishing on the lead lap at the end of this race. Ran caution free from the drop of the green through to the fall of the checkered. But Stephen Gary gets that dash for cash. He jackpots it here today, and he rounds out your podium in third with Ryan Kamba finishing in fourth, Rob Dotson in fifth, Marcus De La Garza in sixth, Dakota Dennis 2 laps down along with Garza, rounding out the cars that actually saw the checkered flag, with Amir Sen running out your driver's class at the end of this race here, not taking the start as race control. But that is all the results at the end of this race, Hamish. I was not expecting that finish, but hey, that's what we got for Stephen Gary. I'm sure he's not going to complain one bit.
Well, let's let him know that he's just won the Dash for Cash. Stephen Gary, congratulations, P3. But also, $20 Richie, you've just won the Dash for Cash, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, Ron did say that we had written you off a little bit, but that was just based on the fact that we just didn't really see it coming, that maybe you could fight your way back up there, but you stuck into it and you kept going. Pretty much the spot that we thought, well, that could be over and done with, was when Lee kind of rode up on you and spun you around on the main straight. How much frustration was there when that happened? Because we watched it back. It was all on him. He rode up high, got into the back of you and spun you around. What was there many emotions in that, or was it just head down and keep going?
It was frustrating, but I mean, what you can do about it? It's racing. It happens. Just stick with it. Save fuel. Do the best you can. What you got?
Well, it's very, very true. Of course, next week we go racing at Myrtle Beach, a track that no longer exists in real life. How are you feeling going into that race? And now that you've kind of got a little win in taking the podium and the Dash for Cash this evening, does that help fuel you with more confidence for next week as well?
Of course. Myrtle Beach has always been a track I'm pretty decent at before I even started racing these cars, primarily. I should be pretty good there, too.
Well, you did a fantastic job tonight, Stephen. Great to have you on track once again, and thank you so much for coming and have a chat to us. Let us know anyone you want to give a shout-out to from myself, Ron, and the rest of the crew. Congratulations on your P3 and your jackpot of the Dash for Cash tonight as well. You are $20 richer. That'll help you pay off a couple of iRacing tracks or cars that you may be looking at.
Sure. Y'all have a good one.
No worries. You too, Stephen. Well, next up we have P2 on the road here this evening from Wilkes County, North Carolina. It is Lee Hamby, who's about to have a quick chat with Ron Mons.
And Lee Hamby now joining us here in the commentary booth. Lee, welcome in here. P2 at the end of a caution-free race here at IRP. How was it out there?
It was all right. I had to do a lot of fuel saving. I didn't think which I did run out. I ran out coming across the finish line.
We didn't really think about the fuel discussion too much come time for the end of this race, but clutching at straws at the end of it. Were you thinking that this race was going to run caution free, or did you have an idea that there may be going to be a little bit of yellow interruption during this race that wouldn't have made the fuel saving as prevalent as it was towards the end?
Yeah, I figured it would go green, but I figured we would have enough for that one stop, but I didn't without saving, unfortunately.
Clutching straws at the end. So good P2 result for you at the end of this race here at IRP. Keeping some good momentum rolling as we head off to Myrtle Beach next time out. A somewhat different racetrack than the one that we had here tonight. So what are your thoughts heading there in 1 week's time?
I like that one a little better. This is probably one of my worst tracks, probably.
I mean, hey,
I'm
to
looking
to
forward
walk.
to that one.
I was just gonna say to walk away from your self-proclaimed worst track of the season with a P2 result. Gotta keep some good wind in your sails for Myrtle Beach next time at. But Lee, we'll let you give thanks or shout outs before we let you go.
All right, I'd like to thank Herbal Ingenuity, Herbal Farmer Gaming, and my family for letting me do it, and 204 League, for giving us a place to race, and y'all guys for the broadcast.
And thank you as well for joining us here in the commentary booth, Lee. Well done on the P2, and looking forward to seeing you out there on the racetrack at Myrtle Beach next time out, man. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Yep, you as well. And that right there was Lee Hamby, our P2 finisher at the end of this race. And Hamish, I think we got time for one more chat, that being a chat with our dominant race winner at the end of this race, Mr. Tyler Smith.
Tyler, congratulations. A race win for you this evening in dominant fashion as well. How did you find it out there? We were trying to keep an eye on all the battles, but we would periodically check in on you. You were just cutting lap after lap after lap. How'd you find it though here at IRP? You're obviously comfortable. Did it take a lot of work to get comfortable around here, or was it a track that you hopped in and you were ready to go?
Oh yeah, last season I hopped in and was ready to go, and I figured it would carry over to this season. But I knew it was going to be a two-stop race, so I figured if I could get out far enough and be able to save enough towards the end, I'd be able to make it.
Well, it was a phenomenal fuel strategy and a great save as well. The only 2 drivers, I believe, didn't save fuel to get to the end. No, there was 3, sorry. 3 drivers did not save enough to get to the end. Where then the top 4 obviously were able to. So that paid off for you in massive dividends. Myrtle Beach next week, how are you feeling going into that one? And do you think could be a similar scenario to this week? Or are what do you think the major characteristics of next week's race are going to be out at Myrtle Beach?
I think it's going to be a tire-saving game there. I like the track. I'm pretty good there, but it depends on who shows up and who's out there on the track with me. I feel good about going into it, though. It's a pretty familiar track for me. I've cut a lot of laps there.
Obviously, you sit in a relatively strong position this season. Another win to boot only helps your charge towards the championship as well, especially with Riley Duncan being away now for a 3rd race. I believe you've only missed 1 thus far this season, if I'm correct. So you should be sitting pretty at the moment. And hopefully with your teammate back next week as well, you guys can work together to get a strong finish for the team.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully we'll go 1 and 2 there at Myrtle Beach.
Only time will tell if you'll be paddling in the water or if you'll be surfing those waves. But let us know, Tyler. Anyone you want to give a shout out to? Myself, Ron, and the rest of the crew of MotorMouth Broadcasting, massive congratulations on your race win here at IRP. And massive congratulations on the success that you've shown to this point of the season as well.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I'd like to thank Scotty Oliver and Top Tier Custom Designs and Apparel. And then my girlfriend for sitting down and watching me every Tuesday. I really appreciate it.
Well, Tyler, thank you so much for coming and have a chat to us. Best of luck next week out at Myrtle Beach. Looking forward to seeing how you go and seeing if you can go 2 wins in a row. Best of luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Ron, I mean, what a race we've just had ourselves here at IRP. A strategy game once again. A couple of incidents that happened, but they sorted themselves out fairly quickly. We heard them mentioning that next week at Myrtle Beach is going to be a tyre-saving game. If we get more than 10 cars on track, could that end up being quite chaotic? Because if drivers aren't saving their tyres, we could see quite a few incidents occurring out at Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, I have a feeling that race in 1 week's time there at Myrtle Beach going to be a tough one. Even when that track was scanned to be added in on the iRacing platform, it was a rough track surface. So certainly tire management got to be the name of the game. And you're right, Hamish, if we do have a stacked grid of racers hitting the track there in just 1 week's time here on MotorMouth Broadcasting, I have a feeling that that race is going to be the mix of a barn burner and a dumpster fire for some who may get struck by falling anvils in that race that lies ahead in 1 week's time. That gives you a very good reason to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the racing action here on MotorMouth Broadcasting. Got action for you all throughout the week, so never really that should tell you everything you need to know here on MotorMouth Broadcasting. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot of action to look forward to in the days that lie ahead and the rest of the season, as we are now officially into the second half of it here for 204 League Summer Summer Heat late model series here in 2025. But as for this broadcast here for round number 7 of the championship at IRP, that will just about do it. So for myself, Ron Mons, and Hamish Monroe working the comms and the cams with me on tonight's show, I say thank you all so very much for watching this broadcast on MotorMouth Broadcasting here tonight, and we hope to see you all wherever it is in the not too distant future.